What's going on, internet? I am the Masked Man, and right now I'm sitting back and I'm watching uh I'm in the middle of watching an episode of the Corey Holcomb 5150 show. I recommend that you check his show out. If you haven't seen it, if you don't watch it, if you don't know who Corey Holcomb is, he is a comedian. Check out his work. And just in case you're wondering how I'm watching this at home and I don't have internet, you should know that there are things you can download for free on the internet that allows you to download YouTube videos. You can find those things on your own, but you should be aware of that. So no, I'm not lying about not having internet. I download videos so I can watch them, away from the public library. But um they in their video, um Darlene, the first story she covered was about Suge Knight being sexually assaulted in prison. And they touched on, and immediately when she said that story, you know, I paused the video and said, okay, this is something that I can talk about. This is something that I can write something about, because, and they touched on it once I clicked the video back on. It's like, people get sexually assaulted in prison all the time. What exactly was the purpose of publicly announcing that Suge Knight specifically was sexually assaulted in prison? Now, the story has not been confirmed. I am not in a position to check whether or not the story has been retracted. I don't know the source of the story. She didn't give a specific source of what the story came from. But if what I saw is to be believed, and they actually released that Suge Knight was sexually assaulted in prison, I just have to say is that is another example of how the media portrays black males. Now, I am not a conspiracy theorist. I used to be a conspiracy theorist to some degree, but I'm trying to move away from conspiracy theory and try to be more meticulous with how I come to conclusions. I think conspiracy theories are fun. I think they're entertaining, but at the end of the day, you really need to do your homework. But this Suge Knight story leaking to the media is a prime example that there is media bias and that there is an agenda in the media to paint black men in a particular sort of light. Now, I don't know what you know about Suge Knight. If you're watching this video, you probably know something about Suge Knight. But Suge Knight has this reputation in the hip hop community as being this imposing, intimidating, towering figure. This ruthless gangster that everybody was afraid of, that everybody was intimidated by. Somebody who just walked into the music industry, after being a bodyguard, and gangstered that shit away. A guy who gangstered Tupac out of jail. a guy that who built this massive record label and and beat people up like this just scary individual. Suge Knight Suge Knight is the hip hop boogeyman. He's the boogeyman of hip hop. He's like the scariest real human being that you can possibly find. And this story, whether it is true or untrue, it's something that was put out to knock the Suge Knight legend down to humanity. It's like we can't allow Suge Knight to have this larger than life enigmatic persona. We can't let him be this, mythological creature. We have to humanize and humble Suge Knight. Suge Knight must be humbled in the eyes of the masses. We can't let him go to his grave as this demon of hip hop. Because love him or hate him, if you feel like Suge Knight is a good guy or a bad guy, he's one of the things. He's a hip hop icon. He is a hip hop legend. He is was a very powerful and successful businessman in hip hop, and he was feared in hip hop. He was influential in hip hop. He was a powerful man. He was a very powerful, unapologetic, uncompromising black man, and they have to humble and tear down that image. They can't let a black man go to the grave with that kind of legacy that he can't be got, he can't be touched. White America has to let the world know that there is no black man that we can't touch, that we can't violate, that we can't humble, that we can't beat. And that's why no matter whether or not he was actually raped, or if he was raped by black guys, Mexicans, Latinos, Puerto Ricans, white guys, Aryan Nation, no matter who raped him or if he was raped at all, it was necessary to put that out to diminish the legend, to belittle the legend. So I just want people to be aware of how the media will manipulate things and say things that they really have no business saying, say things that they really don't have no business releasing to the public. Why wasn't Suge Knight, like, I don't remember, correct me if I'm wrong, I don't remember him being convicted of the crime of killing the man with his car. He may have been convicted and I may have missed it. So he may not have had bail, but if he was in jail, why wasn't he in protective custody? Suge Knight is a celebrity. I mean, he hasn't done anything in the music business in some time, but Suge Knight is still a celebrity. Suge Knight should be in protective custody. He shouldn't be in general population to get fucked in the first place. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on with this whole situation. And another thing I want to talk about before I end this video is, misconceptions and shit that people say about prison and about being in prison that is like, man, it's like, man, I wish people would. Now I know I'm watching a comedy show and I like what they do and I respect what they do, but I got to do what I do. I'm not a comedian. So I don't know what's joke and what's not joke all the time. I have a very literal mind, so I just want to address like a couple of misconceptions that I heard when the Suge Knight story was being read. One of the gentlemen in the room said that, like, in response to a man getting raped or the prospect of getting raped, you would have to kill me, meaning that you would have to kill me before I would let you rape me. Well, here's the thing. If a group of men are coming at you with the express purpose of raping you, then they're like, they don't like, I don't understand how you think they would need to kill you to rape you. All they have to do is grab both of your arms and pull you down. Like that, it's not rocket science to subdue you. Like if you've ever seen like a group of police officers take down a suspect, if you've ever seen somebody like a crazy patient in a mental institution, if you've ever seen somebody having a seizure, it is really not all that difficult to take down somebody who don't want to be taken down. If it's more than one person, like once they grab you and pin you and pin you down, it's like I'm trying to figure out, like, what do you think you're gonna do that you would be dead before it got to rape? Like, I'm trying to understand, like, because it's so absurd that I can't even wrap my mind around what exactly you feel you're gonna be capable of doing that you would be dead before they had the opportunity to rape you. Like, I don't know what you think is going on. I don't know if you think that it's a one-on-one fight and you just squaring off with niggas until one of the niggas finally beat you and you're not gonna stop fighting them one-on-one until until your last breath. I don't know if that's what you think is happening when a group of men walk into a jail cell or wherever they go to rape somebody. But if a bunch of people want to rape you, you're getting raped. It's I don't know what you think is gonna happen, but unless you run fast, you get raped. So I don't understand what you mean. I know that you can't even live with the thought, with the idea of getting raped. But you need to be real. There's a lot of ways they can rape you without killing you, no matter how hard you fight. Mike Tyson was afraid of jail, nigga. Mike Tyson was scared to be in jail. Now, if they made that nigga afraid in his prime, I don't know what anybody at that table could possibly imagine that they ain't ready for. Like, what you think you can do that Mike Tyson in his 20s couldn't. Like, that nigga was afraid of them prison niggas. Them prison niggas are treated like animals. They are treated like animals, so they develop animalistic tendencies. There ain't nothing you can do when they after you. So I don't like that statement repeated because it's a statement that's kind of condescending to all the men that got raped. Like, oh, they just wasn't fighting hard enough. They didn't give enough about that. They didn't give enough of a damn about their manhood. No, there's just when bunch of niggas after you, nigga, it's over. It's a wrap. You done. You better you better kill the first one and hope that the COs get to you so they can put you in solitary or wherever they put prisoners. Cause nigga, if it ain't that, they at you, nigga. They got you. If they want you, they gonna get you. And it's as simple as that. There ain't nothing you can do about it. Now, this is the one that I think was more of a joke, because this is said a lot by comedians. It's like, I'm gonna be real, real dirty if I go to jail. I'm gonna be real dirty. I'm gonna shit on myself. I'm gonna cover myself in shit. And Patrice O'Neal, he said something about that whole concept. I can't remember. I cannot remember the clip, but he said that him and his homeboy went to jail for something in his youth. It may have been like it may have been the incident where there was a rape claim made against Patrice. It may have been that, or it may have been something else. But him and his homeboy went to prison for a while, for a little stretch. And his homeboy was really freaked out, really scared, really, really psyched out about the whole experience. So he wouldn't bathe, he wouldn't shower, he wouldn't do anything. But the not bathing, the not showering, the not cleaning himself drew a lot of attention from the other prisoners. And it was making him more of a target, because other motherfuckers were getting mad at him for stinking and just generally just being a nasty motherfucker. Like, hey, get your boy, like, check him, like it's like we got a problem with him. And I don't know if he said in the story that his homeboy got his ass whooped, or what happened to him, but he did say that his homeboy ended up going crazy. Like, he never came back from because he was just so scared of being in prison, and he was so frightened of the whole experience. He wouldn't shower and he wouldn't bathe, and he just lost his mind. So if you're in jail and you're not showering, you're not bathing, you're not wiping your ass or whatever, you just generally being a dirty motherfucker, number one, that's going to bring a lot of attention to you, and people may have a problem with that, and they may beat you up and fuck you up for that specifically. And two, if a man is going to take your asshole by force, do you think the man who has taken asshole by force hasn't ever encountered a man who shitted on himself? You think he's probably encountered shit, blood, piss, vomit, you know, like, this is a man who rapes men, rapes them, doesn't have consensual sex, rapes men. You think that the man who rapes men, he probably like your funky ass. He probably likes it that way. That probably turns him on, that there's shit all over your ass. These are men. I heard a story, and I don't know if this is true or not, but I heard a story that men in prison don't wear condoms when they sleep with other men, because if they wore condoms, that would make them actually gay. Now, don't hold me to that. That's just something I heard. But they don't want to wear condoms because it's like in their mind, wearing a condom, using protection, is like legitimizing their sexual encounter, and it's like actually becoming gay for real. So I'm just like, nigga, it's like you dealing with a level of psychosis that's beyond all your logical thinking. You dealing you dealing with an animal. You dealing not a not a man who's an animal naturally. I don't want to paint anybody, especially black people, in the light that they are just the animals of society. They orchestrate and they run and they control prisons to treat these human beings as if they were animals, and then they pit them against each other. So they will fight each other, hate each other, kill each other. It is very deliberate. But when you step into that, when you step into this environment that they created, that they made up, you can't apply any logic to it. It's illogical. Your logic don't make sense there. You got to figure out the rules wherever you are and fall in line so you don't have something happen to you that you don't want to happen to you. So that's what I got to say about that. Um, yeah, I liked the fact that they covered the whole thing that I was thinking that yeah, they kind of bringing this shit up to sort of tear the man down, to sort of beat the man, to kick him while he's down. Um, I don't like, some people may say that it's karma, like Suge Knight is just getting back what he did back, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that it's karma. I believe that it's a plan. I believe that it's an orchestrated thing to humanize and castrate, one of the most, mythological figures, of black culture. It's like few people are as well known and feared as the Suge Knight persona. So to be able to have, an asterisk next to that, like Eddie Griffin says, like a lot of shit that Eddie Griffin said in that video that he did for Vlad TV, it's really like showing itself lately in the media. Like that shit was right on time. Like I usually be really pissed off with Vlad for the way that he orchestrates these and chops up the interviews that he does, because he manipulates that shit for views, and most of the time you'll wait a very long time to see a video from somebody that you actually want to see. But this time that shit was right on time. This time in particular, it was right on time. And it's really showing itself in the media by, story after story after story. They gotta nail a nigga. They gotta nail a nigga. They gotta nail a nigga. And they just put a nail in another nigga. They got Suge now. It's like, even like him running somebody over and going to jail for it, it's like whether he was convicted or not, he's still like this demon like god like figure. But if he got raped in jail, it's like we cut his balls off. He ain't that scary. He's not that imposing. He's not that intimidating. They did something similar with Malcolm X. They put out a fraudulent book claiming that Malcolm X had homosexual relations, and he sent letters to his family, back to his family. And then another person wrote a book on it, wrote a book against that book, contradicting the other book. But it's always necessary with every black man throughout all of history. They got to put a nail in them. They got to have a knock on them. They got to do something to kind of chop them down. Whether you think homosexuality is right or wrong, it goes against what Malcolm X said he was and what he said he did. So they're trying to paint him out as a liar and not as scary and not as genuine as he passed himself off to be. That's the point. So that's pretty much what I had to say in this video. If there's any story that you would like me to discuss, you can leave it in the comment. Well, no. Tell me what you think about this video. Leave it in the comments. If there's anything that you want me to discuss, you can send me an email at themrmaskman@gmail.com. Rate the video, like it, dislike it, be real. Subscribe if you want to. You can follow me on Twitter at @TheMrMaskman. You can find me on Facebook at @TheMrMaskman, and you can find some of my videos at @TheMrMaskman. That is all I have to say about this subject, and I will see you in the next video.